Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome back to my channel, My Loverlies. If you've never been here before, thank you so much for clicking on my video. I am so happy you found me. I do so hope that you will like and subscribe before you leave. Become part of the Mama family. Mama's got your back, at least where makeup's concerned, and definitely when that makeup is cheap. So, today, we are playing with my newest acquisitions. Guys, if you haven't watched my last video, please go check it out. I am unboxing and swatching the Revolution X Beetlejuice collection. I was so incredibly happy to find this at my Walmart when I went yesterday. You want to talk about the best makeup day I have had in a very, very long time. I was stoked. I was more than stoked. I was absolutely just, I felt like the Lord was smiling on me, right? So I picked up the collection, and last night, by the time we got home and I cooked dinner and all of that good stuff, I really didn't have time to actually play with them and put them on my face and just kind of roll around in the shadow. So that's what we're going to do today. I am super, super excited. I think because I have two different shadow palettes, I'm going to use one on one eye and one on the other. We're going to see how they play. We're going to see how they wear. What's the tea, right? I have them swatched again, just in case you guys didn't see my last video. So this color story is the Tiny House palette. And then this color story is the I Myself Am Strange and Unusual. Guys, these are Revolution eyeshadows. Revolution is quite notorious for having very, very hit or miss eyeshadow quality. I am already, just by swatching, I can tell that they're not like amazing. The shimmers in here, though they're pretty reflective, I think the shimmers in the Tiny House palette are a little bit better. Super, super reflective. They're not incredibly pigmented, nor are they very soft. Like, they're kind of hard to get out of the pan. Like, when I swatch them, I really have to dig my finger in there. And I feel like these shimmers, it's going to be super, super easy. Like, you can even see the indent of my finger in that gold one. I think these ones are going to hard pan pretty quickly. So if you're getting these and you just want to use it because you like the color story and you don't really care about the packaging or that it's Beetlejuice, I'm going to say go ahead and skip this. I don't think that the formulations in these palettes are fantastic. And though the shadow palettes are only $10 a piece, that's still $10. And I really don't want you to pay for something if you're not absolutely in love with it. That is kind of subpar quality. So definitely not like the best quality ever. We're going to play with it. We're going to put it on the eyes. We're going to see how everything kind of unfolds. But just upon initial kind of swatching and just kind of sticking my fingers in there, I can already tell that the shimmers are going to hard pan at some point. Whether it's sooner or later, I'm not quite sure, but they are going to hard pan at some point. They just feel really, really stiff in there. They're super tightly packed into the pans as well, so it's just going to make it difficult to really get pigment out of there. I think overall, I think this color story is the most interesting, but I think the formulations and the actual shadows in the Strange and Unusual palette are better. They're more pigmented, they're softer, they're a little bit more creamy. We're going to play with both of them. We'll see how it ends up. I really don't have a favorite at the moment because, like I said, though I really like this color story, I enjoy this one more. I just feel like it's kind of a toss-up, right? We're just going to go ahead and dive right into it. My husband, I even got the brushes, so I want to use the new Beetlejuice brushes in today's video as well. I'm super, super excited. I wanted these brushes so, so badly. I'm just like, ugh. Okay, so my husband is at work and my son is at school. So I have the house all to myself today. So it's very, very quiet. My puppies are outside playing, living their life. So we won't have to worry about hearing them in the background either. So that's nice. Which palette should I start off with? I think I'm going to let's start with the Tiny House palette. I know this probably has a name. I just can't find it. It just says Beetlejuice X Revolution. I'm calling it the Tiny House palette. I think it's super, super cute. I think the color story is pretty self-explanatory. I think we're going to start with the deepest shade in the palette and kind of work inwards towards the tear duct, just kind of creating a little bit of gradient, just kind of seeing where the palette takes us. I'm going to go in with, let's go in with the crease brush first, and we'll go in with that deep, rich chocolate brown. So, like I said, these mattes are pretty soft, so you don't need to dig your brush in there. You're going to get quite a bit of pigmentation, just kind of tapping it in. I'm going to start with this deep brown, and I'm going to place that right there on the outer corner of my eye. Seems like it's got pretty nice pigmentation. Not super true to pan. It does look much deeper in pan than it appears on the eye, but that's okay. See, I really enjoy, for the most part, I really enjoy the Revolution mattes. I think they're easy to work with. They're pigmented. They blend well. This brush feels nice. I'm going to just pack that. My eyes are watering today, so I'm trying not to make an absolute mess. I'm just going to start by packing that rich brown on the outermost part of my eye. I'm going to take the same brush. I'm going to wipe it off on my very, very abused towel. And we'll go into the deep dark purple. So we'll go into this one right here. I'm going to try to use as many of these shadows as I can. Again, very, very softly pressed. There's just a little bit of kick up in the pan. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it did pick up beautifully on my brush. I'm going to take this and I'm going to bring this through. Kind of use this to blend out that deeper brown and bring that about 3/4 of the way through my transition. Yeah, that's blending really, really pretty with that deeper brown. I'm just using that brown for a little bit of depth on the outer corner and using gentle pressure with circular buffing motions to kind of stretch that purple in towards my inner corner, just like that. I think that purple is really, really pretty. It doesn't look to be patchy at all, which is the problem you usually encounter with purples. Purples are notoriously difficult to formulate. It's actually working beautifully. I went to Walmart yesterday. I know I've told you guys that a million times by now, but I went to Walmart, and not only did I go to Walmart, but I also went to Burke's. I got some really, really cute stuff at Burke's as well. I can't wait to do that video. I found so much good stuff, and I found so much good cheap stuff. I don't get to go shopping very often. So when I do get to go, I really try to make the most out of it that I can. And I feel like yesterday was super, super productive. I feel like I really got a bunch of stuff to review. And I'm going to try to stretch it out so I have stuff for the next couple of New Makeup Mondays. But can we take just a minute, and talk about how great my skin looks? I am gonna do an updated skincare routine because I simplified it. Like I was doing the absolute most, and I have simplified everything down. And guys, I feel like my skin looks so good. I don't have blackheads. I feel like my under eye lines and like my crow's feet look so much better. I think my forehead lines, though they're still there, they're never going away, I feel they look smoother and not quite as deep. I am just so super happy. I feel like my skin looks fresh and dewy. I haven't had dry patches or flakiness in a minute. I'm just really happy with it. So that's what we're looking like so far. I'm gonna have to dip back into that brown and re-deepen that up, but before I do that, let's go into this mid-tone purple. So let's go into this one right here. So we've used the chocolate brown and the deeper purple. Let's go into this one right here real quick, just on the same brush. I just keep kind of cleaning it off in between each color. And we'll finish this through. Yeah, that's really pretty. It is very much like a pastel purple. Super, super pretty. Pastels are great, great blending colors. If you guys are ever in a position where you're using a deeper color and you're having a difficult time trying to get it to blend, try dipping into a pastel color. I find that pastels help, they just help things move. I don't know if it's something to do with the white base or what have you, but they always just really help finish off a look for me, especially if I can't get that perfect seamless blend that I'm looking for. I'll just go into a pastel, dip a little bit in there, and just kind of smooth it over everything, and it really just helps everything melt together and marry so, so beautifully. So that's what that lighter pastel purple looks like on the inner transition. Really pretty. That brown is looking awfully patchy though. I'm going to go back in. I'm going to pack a little bit more of the brown on just to see if I can stop that from happening. Let's do that right now. Let's dip a little bit more into the brown and kind of repack that on the outer corner. Try to blend that into the purple just a bit. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. Okay, so the brown is definitely a packing shade and not a blending shade. Once it blends out, it gets pretty patchy. The purple, though, I am super, super impressed by. It doesn't look patchy to me at all. It's got a really beautiful, even laydown. Both of the colors, well, all three of the colors I've used, well, both of the purples, they've blended really, really easily. They're nice and mobile. Let's go in with, let's use some of the shimmers now, shall we? Yeah, I'm happy with that. Let's use some of the shimmers. The shimmers in this palette are what bother me just a little bit, just because, like I said, they're super, super hard pressed. Let's go into the deepest shimmer. I want to try, again, to use as many of these as I can. Let's go into this shimmer first. I feel like this shimmer is the prettiest one in, not the prettiest, but it's like the most usable one in this palette, just because it's the softest. It's the easiest to get a good swatch. It's a really, really beautiful, like, I don't know. I have it swatched. It's swatched right here. It's really pretty, like purpley silver metallic. I don't know. I really, really like that. It's a little bit light though. Let's go into, I don't know what to do. Some of the shimmers, like, I feel like the shimmers in here are a bit, they're a bit too close. There's not a ton of variety. Everything's very, very mid-toned. Let's go into, let's try this one. Let's try this shimmer real quick. So this one looks like that. Let's try to pack that right on. Slightly overlapping. I'm using my finger because I don't even know if I'll be able to pick. Ooh, okay. So it is picking up a little bit better with the brush. I'm really having to dig my brush in there because it's already kind of hard panning on me just a touch. But let's take it on my e.l.f. Concealer brush and pack that on. That is so pretty. They are so reflective and super, super metallic. I feel like if you used these wet, they would be absolutely insane. Let's try that real quick. I'm going to take a little bit of setting spray. This is my NYX Bear With Me setting spray. I'm going to get a little bit of this purple shade on my brush. Really just kind of digging in there. Picking up some product. And then I'm going to spritz it with my spray. And then kind of swipe it onto. Oh yeah, look how beautiful that is. Super, super shiny. Incredibly metallic. That is just so, so pretty. Let's go into something a little bit lighter. Let's go into this lighter purple shimmer right here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to dig at it with my brush. Get some product up. And then I'm going to spray it with my NYX spray, and we'll pack this a little bit further in. Oh, wow. These are super, super pretty, guys. I'm doing kind of like a faux cut crease. These shimmers, when you use them wet, really go on beautifully opaque. I am quite happy with that. They're super sparkly. Like, they just look almost like crushed metal. There's a little bit of like a glitteriness to them without having actual big particles of glitter. I think that's stunning. I'm going to go back through my crease just with my brush. I'm not going to use any extra product. I'm just going to go back through my crease and clean that up a little bit. Just kind of straighten up that line a little bit and disperse a little bit of that shimmer. Kind of looks like a stardust explosion, kind of, so we don't have such a harsh line of shimmer there, but look how pretty that is. I will, of course, be posting finished pics over on both Facebook and Instagram, but guys, that is so, so, so pretty. I do want to deepen up the outer corner just a little bit. Again, I'm going to go back into a little bit of that brown. That brown doesn't seem like it really wants to stick around. It just keeps kind of running away on me. But I really do enjoy having a little bit of depth on the outer corner. So I'm just going to add a little bit more of that brown. And then we'll go in and put a inner corner and brow bone highlight on to finish off this look. Guys, I think that is super, super pretty. I'm going to take the little pencil brush and I'm going to go into, should we use, I think we'll use this one. I was going to use the bright gold, but I think we're going to use this softer kind of taupey champagne color. And I'm just going to take my pencil brush, pick up a little bit of that pigmentation, slap that on the inner corner. That's really pretty. And then put a little bit of that on the brow bone as well. I don't usually do eye looks that are this shimmer heavy, but I think this looks so pretty. I am not mad about it at all. I do want to go back in. I want to go use that this eyeshadow brush, and I want to go into the lightest purple in the palette just a little bit. This is another pretty pastel one, and I'm going to take this just around the upper edge of that deeper purple, just to kind of soften it a little bit, give it a little bit of like a lighter halo. That's really pretty. I will say that the two pastels in this palette are super, super similar. I don't know that they needed to include both of these shades in here. Yeah, just kind of smoke out that upper portion. Give it a little bit more of a smokier kind of feel. What do we think? I think that is a really, really pretty, pretty purple eye look. I am totally into that. I think it's stunning. For the lower lash line, I'm going to bring in another brush. I'm going to go into my e.l.f. Smudge brush. And I'm going to start, I think I'm going to take that matte purple. And I think I'm just going to take that along my lower lash line and really smoke everything out. These mattes in here are really, really great. I really like the mattes. The shimmers are beautifully pigmented. You have to use them on a wet brush, but I think they're super, super pretty. They are pressed really, really hard in the pan though, so it does take a little bit of effort to get the pigment, like to get the pigment on the brush. But once you do, I think it is really, really pretty. I am not upset about that at all. I'm cleaning up a little bit of fallout. I will show you how much fallout there was. I don't think that I experienced too much fallout. I'm just kind of cleaning up that bottom edge. And then that is how much fallout we had. So really not that very much at all. So all in all, I think this surprised me. They didn't swatch very well, but that's why you can never really just count on swatches. I think there is definitely a difference between swatches and applying it to the eye, because I never would have thought that I would have gotten something that pretty from these swatches. I just wasn't very impressed with the swatches, but I think that eye look I think that eye look is stellar. We're going to add a little bit of black eyeliner because that is just what I do. I always put on a black liner. I have been really, really loving my e.l.f. No Budge liner here lately. I think it is awesome. I can't find my black one because I put it somewhere. And I'm forever losing my stuff. Does anybody else experience that? Are you forever losing your stuff too? I just feel like, oh, there it is. This is the e.l.f. No Budge black liner. I'm going to line my upper and lower waterlines. You could definitely use a white or purple on the lower lash line if you are not a big fan of black. I just really like the black because it contrasts with my blue eyes and really makes them pop. It adds drama to just about everything. I think I'm also going to add a nice chunky wing to this eye look as well. I think it's a little bit plain. I really love the colors, but it's a little bit plain, and I think a wing is going to be just the thing to really bring it all together. But before I do that, I want to dive into the Strange and Unusual palette. This one I'm excited about. I feel like the shimmers in here are just a little bit softer than the ones in the House palette, so I'm excited to see how they perform. I'm going to clean off my brushes. These brushes are really nice. I really enjoy these brushes. I really didn't have any kind of opinion on them because I'd never used any of the Revolution brushes before, but they're nice. They're picking up the product really, really well. They're soft on my skin. They're not tugging or pulling at my eyes in any way. I'm really, really happy with that. So for this one's going to be pretty straightforward. Again, they're not like super inventive kind of color stories. I think they're pretty intuitive and pretty straightforward. I think for this eye, I want to do something a little bit different. Well, I got to make it match this one just a little bit. So I guess we'll do just about the same thing. I'm going to go back into that crease brush and let's go into the deepest shade in the palette. So let's go into the black. You're going to do basically the same thing. We're just going to do pretty much a smoky eye. I'm going to take that black and start packing that onto the outer portion. I'm just kind of stamping that black on. Remember, when you're working with deep and dark shadows, you can always add but never subtract. It is always easier to go in and add more if you feel like you need to than it is to take it off or remove it once you've already put it onto the eye. So always start with small amounts of product and then build up from there. This black is nice too. Not the deepest, darkest black I've ever worked with, but passable. I think it looks more like a deep charcoal on the eye than it does black, but that's okay. Let's go into this really beautiful kind of deep burgundy. This is the shade But Beetle. So cute. Let's go into that one. Ooh, so lots of fallout on this shade. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but super, super softly pressed. Yeah, lots of fallout on that one. And let's bring this one. Oh, those two colors together are so, so pretty. So, so pretty. Super, super pigmented. I'm just kind of wrapping the eye with this deep burgundy. That is going on beautifully. I don't know why or how the two formulas in the different palettes are so different, but even between this matte formula and this matte formula, I can definitely like feel a difference. Super pigmented, almost creamy feeling mattes. blending beautifully. Just kind of mapping out my shape really quickly. Oh, 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 so pretty. Okay, what are we gonna do now? Ooh, there's a pink in here. There's kind of like a pinky red. Should we go into that one? Maybe? I don't know. I kind of want to keep this nice and deep and dark. We'll go for it though, because I want to use as many of the shadows as I can. I really want to get this burgundy nice and deep though. Really kind of build on that, and then we'll finish off the inner corner with that pinky shade. Oh, I love, love, love that deep burgundy. I love this brush. This brush is like the perfect shape for my hooded eyes. So nice. Let's go into this pinky shade. This is called Unusual. So this one right here in the center. And I say it's pinky because it looks bright crimson, but I have a feeling once you blend it out on the eye, it's going to look more pink than it does red. Again, super softly packed. I just kind of tapped it onto the eyeshadow and picked up quite a bit of product. Yeah. Let's kind of blend that onto the inner corner. Definitely looks a little bit pinker. Melting beautifully in with that deeper burgundy. Really pretty. Let's kind of smoke. Let's take a little bit more of that pinky unusual shade. Kind of use that to smoke out around that burgundy. And then we're going to dip back into the black and really deepen up that outer corner. Yeah, these have really nice mobility. They're moving exactly where I want them to. That's really pretty. Let's take this same brush. I'm going to wipe it off. I'm going to go into the shade Deets. So this one right here, it's pretty much the transition shade. It's a very light kind of nude shade. Still super softly pressed. And let's take this just around the perimeter. Kind of soften up this edge a little bit. Smoke everything out. Super soft color. You can't really see too awful much of that on my eye, but it is a beautiful blending shade. It's going on and really softening everything and blurring the edges of that shadow in a really gorgeous way. I really like that. I am experiencing a little bit of fallout, but that's okay. Taking the same brush, we'll go back in to that black shade. This was the shade Dark Room. Just getting a little bit of that on my brush. Pack that back onto the outer corner. Bring that a little bit through my crease. Create a little bit of depth. That's really pretty. They're blending beautifully. I'm not having any problems with the quality of the mattes in either one of these palettes. You guys know that I love my matte eyeshadows. And these are good ones. Not the best I've ever worked with, but not subpar in any way. They're blending beautifully. And blacks can be tricky sometimes. A lot of times blacks can be sticky and not really want to move the way that you want them to move. And that is just doing everything I want it to do. I just took a clean brush with no extra product on it. I'm just taking that through the crease. Make sure my blend is nice and smooth and even like that. Let's play with some of the shimmers now. Let's take this really beautiful deep dark red, so the shade Strange. We'll try it dry first, and then we'll go in with a little bit of setting spray and see what that does. So a nice amount of it on my brush. Just put a little bit of it right here on the very outer corner. That's a really, really pretty crimson shimmer. Just kind of blending that in. I don't want to take it too high. I don't want to cover up all of that depth we got from the black shadow. Just a little bit right on the outer corner of the lid. That looks really, really pretty. Nice and opaque. It's got a nice amount of shine to it. That's pretty. Ooh, what should we go into now? I think I want to keep this pretty much red. Maybe we'll go into, let's go into this shade. This one was a duochrome. This is the shade Prince Valium. This was a kind of like pinky gold duochrome. That picks up beautifully on the brush. I am going to spray this down with a little bit of my setting spray, because it's a little bit chunky. That's pretty. Slightly overlapping that red. It just overtook that red in a heartbeat. I'm not too mad about it though, because it is such a pretty, pretty shade. I'm just taking that right up to my crease, swiping it all over the lid. That is so pretty. Can you see the flip? It goes from like this pinky red to gold. That is absolutely gorgeous. A little bit of fallout, but that's okay. That's why we do our eyes first. I'm going to go back into that eyeshadow brush, that clean brush, and just sweep it through my crease one more time, just to melt everything together, make sure I've got no harsh lines anywhere. And I think I'm pretty much going to leave it there. I definitely like the red one better. I definitely like the red one better. Let's clean up a little bit of our fallout. And then I'm also going to try one of the I guess I'll try both of the lipsticks on. So quite a bit more fallout. Yeah, quite a bit more fallout with these shades than the other ones. Definitely, for sure. I did go pretty hard with them, but like I said, they're softly packed. You can definitely tell that there is a difference in formula between both of the palettes. There's quite a bit of fallout. I didn't realize how much fallout I had going on down there. I need more Q-tips, more Q-tips. I didn't realize how much fallout was on my face. I have a red under eye at the moment. That's not cute. That's not cute at all. I'm going to leave the outer edges nice and smoky. Have the fallout taken care of. What should we put on the lower lash line? I think I'm going to go straight in. I'm going to go in with that burgundy. I'm going to take my e.l.f. smudge brush. We'll go right into Beetle. Put a little bit of that on my brush and bring this through my lower lash line. It's red enough that it's not going to make me look sickly, especially if I go in with a black liner and really line and tighten everything up. I think that's going to be so super pretty. I'm not going to take it all the way in to my inner corner. I'm going to stop just short of it. Just like that. But I do think we need an inner corner and brow bone highlight. Let's go back into that pencil brush. And what should we use for the highlight? There really isn't a highlight shade in here. Maybe this one right here. It looks a little bit dark, but it might work for a highlight. So let's use this one. This is the shade Want to Get In. Take a little bit of that, put that right on the inner corner and onto my lower lash line just a bit. I'm having a little bit of difficulty picking this one up on the brush. There it is. That's super, super pretty. I like that. Not extremely reflective, but I guess it is enough. And I'm just going to take a little bit of it right here under the highest point. Yeah, this one's kind of hard panned. I'm finding it really difficult to get this picked up on my brush. Right under the highest point of my brow. Like so. Can you guys see that? I'm having a little bit of difficulty really getting it on the brush, but I think it's pretty nonetheless. Let's line this bad boy. We're going to go back into my e.l.f. Did I lose it again? No. We're going to go back into my e.l.f. and line the upper. I know this part always looks so painful. I promise you it's not. And lower waterline. I think lining the waterlines really just provides that really finished kind of quality to any kind of eye look. It is my favorite, and this eyeliner is so creamy and easy to use. Just kind of glides on and does exactly what you want it to do. Guys, I am impressed. I am impressed. I think I definitely like the red palette more. That was kind of what I thought was going to happen. I thought the formula in the red palette was a little bit better, even on the swatches. I just think that the red palette performed better. I think that the contrast and depth in this palette is a little bit better than in the Tiny House palette. If we're just looking at color story straight up, there's definitely more depth and variety in here. I think a lot of the shades in the Tiny House palette are too similar. I think they show up really similar on the eye, and it's hard to really get some serious contrast going. But in this palette, because you have that deep black, and then you've also got like this really beautiful light kind of transition color, I really think that this one just makes for a more complete thought. Other than that, I think that they both look absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to add a big old wing and tons of mascara to both eyes. And I will, post finished pictures. I would love for you guys to tell me in the comments which eye look you like better, which palette you think is prettier. And let me know if you picked these up, which palette do you prefer? I would love to know. I would love to know if my opinion matches yours or if we disagree. If we disagree, that is totally okay. But I'd love to hear, I would love to hear your thoughts. Definitely always down for talking about makeup in any way, shape, or form. As always, I will post everything that I used in today's video in the description box below, along with the tags to my other socials, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. I post content every single day, so if you're following me everywhere, you don't have to worry about missing a single moment of it. But right before we go, I do want to test out the lipsticks. So I did get both lipsticks that were available in this collection. I got the My Life is a Dark Room and the, oh, what were they called? Oh my goodness. I got both lipsticks. I got the Beetlejuice one. Oh, Beetlejuice and Lydia. So I got both different shades. One is a really gorgeous crimson, and the other is a stunning nude. So I'm going to put oh, wow. That is probably one of the creamiest lipsticks I've used in a good long while. Completely and totally effortless. That was super easy to apply. I know I look just a little crazy, but I love that color. Really beautiful, creamy formula. And then the Beetlejuice shade is a gorgeous nude. Super creamy as well. which shade do we like better? I didn't think that I was gonna like that red as much as I like it. I am digging that red color. I usually go for a more blue toned red. This one has a little bit more of that like fire oranginess to it, but super, super pretty. I love the way that it looks with that red eye. Guys, I love you so, so very much. As always, no filters, no edits, no fancy lighting. It's just me sitting here playing with some makeup, hoping you guys are enjoying what I'm doing. Until next time, my beautiful, amazing mamas, I love you so, so much. Stay safe, take care of yourselves, and remember, you're important. Bye.